let's very quickly speak to the Minister for Energy, Mr. John Peter Amewu. He joins us on the line now. Mr. Amewu, good morning, and thank you very much for making the time. This is engaging everybody's attention now, but we would love some clarification. What exactly has occasioned the suspension of the concessionaire contract with PDS?
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to your listeners. The announcement from government of the suspension is as a result of a material breakdown detected. The contract allows for some conditions subsequent and conditions subsequent and conditions precedent to the execution process. And so, as part of those requirements, the original owner of the asset, which is ECG, continue its due diligence process. And it is this process that has established that there is some element of fraud in executing the payment security.
Can you elaborate, please?
Well, fraud in the execution of the payment security simply means that the payment security tendered was not conclusive and was not in accordance with the requirements and the specification that was required, and that it was not authenticated by the sources that were supposed to execute that agreement.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the security that was to be provided turns out not to be what what is spelled out in the agreement. They provided security that does not meet the requirements.
Not exactly, but the payment security that they provided and that alleged coming from the source execute the agreement, now denying that they have never executed such payment security.
Oh, all right. So that is fraud. So basically, you suspect that PDS lied to the government of Ghana to get this contract?
Well, that evidence will come up.
Okay. Now, this was a condition subsequent. But my understanding is that originally, this was to be a condition precedent. They were supposed to provide evidence of these securities before signing the contract. Why was it changed?
Why was it
changed from a condition precedent to a condition subsequent?
I think MIDA will be in a better position to answer that. But also, again, because of the timing of the agreement, you realize that there was a need to quickly execute the agreement because of time constraints. At that point, time was expert. But such person like MIDA will be in a position to tell you this.
Right. Did MIDA make this change without the approval of government of Ghana?
It was the discussions among all the stakeholders, and I think that, as I stated earlier, you should be able to get a clarification from me.
Well, Mr. Amewu, if government of Ghana was part of the discussion, then you should be in a position to explain to the people of Ghana why you agreed to change that condition from precedent to subsequent.
Yeah, I've made mention earlier on that the timing of the agreement was very key, and the date of execution of the agreement was one of the conditions for exercising the agreement. And so, to make sure that the agreement takes effect, of course, MIDA, as the investing body or the investor, has a responsibility to make sure the agreement is executed. So whatever it takes them to make sure the agreement takes effect from the date that was stipulated. I think that was exactly what MIDA.
So what you're saying is that in order to stick to the timelines, government of Ghana agreed that we would sign a contract with a concessionaire that was yet to prove its securities to us. We agreed to do that just to meet a deadline?
No, don't forget, please. I stated earlier on that there were due diligence processes ongoing as the agreement is being executed. Even as we speak now, because there are still processes to be completed, ECG on its own as the owner of assets has a responsibility to continue doing those processes. So it is not a result of the timeline talk that doesn't trigger it. It is a process of ongoing engagement, which of course mandates the owner of the asset to do anything that claims its right to authenticate the validity of what document was submitted.
So what would have happened if the government of Ghana had insisted that, no, we want to see these securities and do our due diligence, make sure they exist, that this company is actually in a position to manage our 18 billion cedis assets before we sign a concession agreement with them? If we had insisted on that, what would have happened?
What would you think yourself? Because I mentioned that the timing of execution of the agreement was very relevant. And
yes,
so
but that
maybe,
time
I
was...
don't know, but maybe what the MCC may have to do at that time is that if the condition of that agreement is not executed, we're not going to put in what is required. I don't know if that may happen. I'm just...
Hello? Hello? Right. We may have lost contact with Mr. Amewu there. Let's see if we can get him back on the line because I think that's an important question we need to answer. So we're learning something new here. Government believes that fraud was perpetrated by... okay, Mr. Amewu, can you hear me?
That what is important now is the fact that... can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, yeah.
Is the fact that it has been established through the process, and that though the agreement was executed, the process of due diligence had not come to an end. And so that allows for further findings and details of the payment security to be examined. So it's an ongoing process.
Yes.
The agreement, again, as you are aware, has not been terminated.
Yes.
It's been suspended. And so the suspension of this agreement creates the path for all the stakeholders involved to engage in further discussion. Okay, so we have suspended it because government also considered the assets of Ghanaians very important. And in order not to put this asset in the hands of people who claim they have the financial capability to execute the project, it's proper government with the suspension on that. So this is really what I'm doing.
How long is this investigation going to take?
Not too long. I'm sure we will come back to give Ghanaians.
Are we talking weeks, months, or days?
Don't forget the issue of fraud would have to involve some elements of security involvement for alleged fraud. And so those responsibilities, of course, will be coming from the security agency. Right.
Now, we know that before this suspension came up, there was an existing issue with PDS regarding payments. The independent power providers were up in arms because they were owed some money. And there was a suggestion that there are some payments due from PDS. What's the status of that? Have you collected that money?
That has been so, yeah.
So they don't owe any money at the moment, at the point of the suspension?
Not as I know.
Right. So now that ECG is stepping back in, I mean, the reason why a concessionaire was a good idea was because ECG had some massive inefficiencies and problems with their own operations. Now that they are taking over, are we to expect a return to those inefficiencies?
Well, I don't know whether during this period, the few period that PDS has acted, if the efficiencies have been clearly eliminated. I wouldn't know. Maybe you, as a consumer from that perspective, what you could tell us. ECG, as we know, of course, we all agree that there have been some high elements of inefficiency, losses. And so they're coming back during this period. What it means is that there needs to be high level of supervision to make sure the stability of power that we enjoy.
Supervision by who?
Hello?
Supervision by who? Who will be doing the supervision?
Of course, there is a supervising ministry, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Was that not possible in the past?
Well, it's possible. One of the reasons why the agreement also comes into existence is not only because of the inefficiencies, which I hope you are very much aware. It is also the fact that most of our infrastructure are still, very, very old infrastructure that has existed for periods without being seen. Huge losses as a result of bulk supply points. Transmission lines have been down. Distribution points have not been well stabilized. Payment systems were not well formalized. And so supply through distribution was not well guaranteed. And so there have been a lot of problems that were detected right now from generation, transmission, distribution, and supply. So it is not only because of the inefficiencies in terms of managerial role that the PPG need to play. That is why the concessionaire team is not at all. There were other factors that were involved.
Right. Now, you as government, you suspect fraud here. If it turns out that you are right, this contract will be abrogated, will it not?
I'm not a lawyer. I think there are various options. Of course, it's proven that there's an element of fraud, and then PDS, of course, as the body responsible to provide the payment security, has also been classified and concluded as those responsible for this fraud. Then, of course, fraud preceded contract. That, from a layman point of view, who can say that. Now, if it has been established from all reasonable doubt that what we are all talking about is not true, and that the agreement that was executed is an agreement executed from the company that was supposed to do it, and that there was a consideration in the sense that, of course, money was paid and received by the executing company. Then, of course, it means that the suspension would have to be lifted. So these are the options that we will be looking at.
Right. Now, before we talk about the future, I just want to clarify the detail you just shared there. So the reason why you suspect fraud is because the company that is supposed to provide the security, which PDS claimed to have, that company says we never gave PDS any such security. Am I correct?
Well, not as that. The company said, we, the people responsible to execute the agreement, are not the ones that have executed the agreement. The signature that was found on the payment security has been forged, and that the person responsible to sign that signature is not the one who signed.
That's pretty much.
And also, if the agreement has been executed for payment to be done, we have not received any payment. So it means there's no consideration. If there's no consideration, of course, there's no contract between PDS through its intermediary. Don't forget, there are other three intermediaries that were responsible for execution of this agreement.
So
Danwell Insurance, Cal Bank, and then Joe Australia. And Joe Australia was at the final point between Danwell Insurance and Cal Bank. So that's the whole agreement.
So which company is now saying we never signed this and we haven't received any consideration?
It's supposed to be the company that should be providing this payment security.
Which company?
Claiming that we never executed.
What's the name again? Which company?
Apple from Qatar.
Right, okay. So they are, all right. So now to clarify, this company says that they didn't sign the documents that PDS provided to government of Ghana. They didn't sign it. The signature was forged, and they have not been paid to provide any such security. That's what they're saying, correct?
That's precisely.
Right. So if this all turns out to be true, and if indeed fraud is proven, and that then nullifies the contract, what next? What will be the next steps for government? Will ECG simply continue to provide distribution? Does the MEDA agreement simply die? Or what next?
This is a very good question. I would be thinking that this further engagement process will have to be conducted with the MCC. Don't forget the money is coming from their outfit. And so they maybe will be coming out with a framework. It's exactly what the process is going to be, whether a new participating distribution company would have to be invited, to take up the position of PDS. I think these arrangements would have to be looked at, and the NCC is very key, and the MEDA making sure that those things are done. Don't forget that our food company has also drawn our attention to the fact that the gentleman who was appointed to have signed the agreement has already been suspended, and that they have taken this issue very seriously.
Who said this? Sorry, who said this?
The company.
They say that the person who forged the signature has been suspended?
Yes, of course, and that they are taking the issue very seriously.
So the person was an employee of theirs?
I would suggest so. If it has been suspended, then of course it must be an employee.
Okay. So now the debate has been ongoing about whether or not we would have found ourselves in this position if indeed we had insisted on this being a condition precedent. Now you've explained that the pressure was on from MIDA to make this a condition subsequent, and as a result we are here. So if indeed we end up losing any money as a result of this, through all the processes we've gone through, transferring assets to PDS, now we're having to reverse. If the government of Ghana loses any money here, are we going to hold MIDA responsible for that?
Losing money in terms of...
Well, a lot has been done. We have rebranded, relabeled assets and so forth. We've done an entire process to move employees from one company to another. Obviously, these things were not...
were those costs coming from government?
Say that again?
Were those costs burden on government?
Well, you tell me. You're the minister.
No, you are asking.
Did the government of Ghana incur any cost here?
The government has already put in some money, which I'm trying to find out. The PDS activities, branding, and all those. That was done by... I would think that those are responsibilities of the PDS.
Yeah, so now that we're taking these assets back...
in the book of PDS.
Now that we're taking these assets back, will it not cost us anything to rebrand them if indeed the fraud is proven and the contract ends up being abrogated? Will we not incur any cost in
Of course, if there's fraud, there must be damage.
Right.
And so damage is presumed to have been taken care of by whoever conducted that fraud.
So we would be suing PDS for those damages?
I would prefer that we leave this to the security agencies and the lawyers to delve in detail. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Amewo, I want to thank you for your time with us. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much, my brother. Yeah.
Okay. Well,